Guys. I think some of you I know, some of you I got to know today. And first I want to start with your presentation, by the way, motivated me to present today because the snowboarding game.
Nice.
Because I think we're all used to the cellars where we live in and where we program in, and I try to get out sometimes. So this is my first talk in years, I would say. So welcome everybody here. My company is called I Like Sci-Fi Games. My name is Jürgen, and I want to start at the very beginning. I'm starting here because whenever I heard a talk like years ago, the best part for me of the talk was always when people told about their past, how they went to the place where they are right now, and especially their mistakes. And I made a ton of mistakes, I would say, but no mistake was those two things. If you don't know it, it's Amiga 500 and the Super Nintendo. This was my entrance to everything. It changed everything. All those games. I guess I don't need to say the names here. They changed my life. Like really, like in the movies, they changed my life from something here to something there. The other big thing that really changed my life is the TV or the cinema, and especially science fiction. That's why I called myself I Like Sci-Fi. And especially one movie, I guess you know it, Tron, changed so much because it combined the two things that I love very much, science fiction and games. And I remember that a lot of people didn't understand Tron or didn't like it so much, and I always feel weird because it meant so much to me. It still does. It's so strange to suddenly find something that fits perfectly, and this was Tron, for example, in my case. So with all that, I went to my parents when I was 17 or so and said I want to be creative. I want to do movies or games or something like this. And I moved to Vienna, and this is the picture I had. That's where I left those things in there. It turned out to become this. Vienna is something you either love or you don't love so much, and to me it was the last thing. I couldn't study anything. I was accepted at the Angewandte, but I was more or less too less artist for them, something like this, because I remember when I came to the last session of the Aufnahmeprüfung, sorry, I don't know the name. I was super proud and super motivated, and then they said, no, you cannot go to the school because you are not artist enough. And maybe that's true. Maybe this is true for a lot of us, I would say. But I think it's the old classification of arts. So yeah, I did the other thing that meant a lot to me back in these days. I studied psychology because I was working in Linz at the BBAZ, and working with handicapped people in my social year. And after this social year, I wanted to help people. So yeah, I studied this psychology thing, which was kind of cool, but pretty soon I realized, okay, I just want to know more about myself and so on, the classic of psychology. And I worked as a, I think it was called personal assistant with handicapped people, with people with schizophrenia and so on. And I soon realized that you really have to be super strong to work in this field, and I wasn't strong enough. And I remember the very last day when I was studying during day and working in the afternoon, more or less. When I brought home one client of me, I almost broke down. But this was like one of those biggest mistakes of my life. Not to study in Vienna and so on. I mean, this whole thing of not doing what I want to do. So I really had to think, what do you really want to do? And what I really want to do is be creative. So what I did is I used the last year in Vienna and learned every tool I could learn, like Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, Cubase, and so on. I learned all the tools that I needed to go to this school because I heard of FH Salzburg and multimedia art while I was studying in Vienna, and to me this sounded like, okay, this is paradise. I want to go there, and I made it, and it felt like a classic level up because Vienna. I always say that Vienna was my end boss, and I don't want to say bad things about Vienna. Vienna is cool and so on, but for me, living there and studying there and working there, it just didn't work. And in this place, everything worked out. I met people. I met, in the positive way, I met freaks like me, talking about Nintendo all day, talking about progressive rock all day, and so on. So it really was a level up, and I could do an internship in LA, which was the next mistake. I always say this mistake because it's not mistakes, it's learnings. I learned to surf there. My car got kicked out of the streets for many times. And the mistake there was that I realized what I don't want to do. I was there as a 3D intern, a 3D artist, more or less. Worked for 2 movies, and it was horrible. It's working there taught me that everybody cooks with water. I don't know if this is the right phrase. You know it in German. Uh, all the movies work in the same way, and I was just not good enough. I'm the worst 3D artist, I guess, in the field, more or less. And I learned that I want to do something else. And this is finally when the whole gaming idea came into place. I was 28, I think, when I was in America, and I came home and I realized, okay, you had the idea with 10 years now, do it. And that's what I did. So the first game is called I ever created was Pitiri 1977. I already told someone it's the worst game ever. If you look at the game design and the level design, I made again so many mistakes, but I learned so much of this game. The highest inspiration was this movie, Silent Running. If you don't know it, it's a very cool 70s movie, only with one actor and robots, and he's sitting in a breaking down space station. It's a very cool movie. I don't want to spoil it too much. And the other cool thing about Pitiri, even though it's a bad game, is that I met friends who are really famous now, who painted for this game. I was the only one creating a game in my last year at the university, so they wanted to work on a game, and I was the guy who created the game. And one of the painters who painted all this, for example, is Johannes Fiegelhuber, who was the art director of Orient the Blind Forest, and he's a good friend of mine today. So this game is so positive for so many reasons. I met good friends. He makes a lot of money now, and so on. And yeah, it's just very positive, even though it's so bad. After that game, I went into the so-called professional business, and this was the next mistake. I learned a lot again, but I realized, and I guess you guys know how the business is like. Sometimes it's so many hours, it's so less money, and it's just a very hard job. And after some years, I realized, okay, I want to go in my own direction. I want to be my own boss. So I founded I Like Sci-Fi Games. I'm a musician and sound designer. This is one part of my job. So I do sound designs for commercials, movies, and stuff like this. And movies, no, but like smaller projects. And I'm a musician. And on the other side, I'm a game designer. And I also create my own games. And now is the time for UEBERNATURAL. I want to talk about 2 games, especially about UEBERNATURAL, because this is also my what is it called? Like the post-mortem, I think. It's like the end of something, the end of an era. And the other game I just want to tease a bit is Space Cowboy. UEBERNATURAL is a very simple game. It's a fan game for one of my all-time favorite TV shows called Supernatural. Do you guys know Supernatural? Okay, so yeah, some facts here. It's a super famous show. We just had the 20th anniversary. It has 15 seasons with 23 episodes each, and so on. So it's really big. And back when I started to do my own shit, more or less, I googled, and there was no Supernatural game, which is crazy to me to this very day. I don't understand why there is no Supernatural game. I don't get it. So I decided to create one, and the only thing I found, like the only pixel art I really like, I found is this picture, just one picture by Lucille Patron. And I kind of knew her as a pixel artist, and I wrote to her, hey, do you want to do a game? And she said, don't have time, but I can send you the PSD file with this, and you can do whatever you want with it, which is very cool. I'm still in contact with her. She's still cool about it, so that's nice. So this is like the first prototype I created. We helped each other more or less for the car, so she helped me a lot to get everything right. The car is very important in the show. So this was the first thing, and I just want to show you like 1 minute of the game maybe. So you so on. So you find it on Steam, and it's free, and you can play it for free. What it's about, I try to think of, okay, what is the show about? And the show, this is the next funny thing, is 100% constructed like a video game. It's so crazy. It always uses the same tropes, the same ideas, and the same core mechanics. It's always repeating the thing, and it's repeating more or less a racer, like a car game, an adventure part, and an action part with some kind of some minor decision moments. So they are always hunting monsters. They are always driving in their car, talking about their feelings, lying to each other, not talking about their real feelings, and so on. And they're always trying to kill monsters. They lose in the beginning, and in the end, they find the right tool to kill the monster. So it's a perfect base for a game. UEBERNATURAL. I will come to the spot where I called it UEBERNATURAL. I will talk about that. Has been released on the 13th October in 2021, and I put in pretty much every core idea of the show, like all the typical weapons, all the typical jokes, all the typical characters, more or less. And it turned out very nice, at least for me. I'm not used to big numbers, but it was downloaded pretty often, I think 41k times. Got very positive reviews, which is so important to me. I'm not a proud person, but this is something that makes me really happy. And I think this is because of the Supernatural family, the so-called Supernatural family. The fans of the show are called Supernatural family, and those guys are the nicest people you can imagine. This is like the last place in the internet that is really nice. Like I'm a big fan of Reddit, and sometimes the internet gets kind of harsh and kind of heavy with bad words and so on. But the Supernatural family is like welcoming, warm, cozy, and so I spent a lot of time there. I even sang once live on the internet and so on. So this is like really a good place for me, and I think the game did so well on Steam because of those guys. It's again, I know that this game is okay-ish, but it's not the best game design, level design, and so on. It's far away from a good game, but the community just was looking for something they can hang on after the show finished, like new cases, new stories, and so on, and new characters. A little tech. Sorry for all the programmers out there. We talked before already. This is the tool I'm working in. Programmers normally laugh about it. It's called Click Fusion. It's a very old visual programming tool. But the thing is, I get everything done with it. So it works super fine for me. I mean, the animation editor from the last century, more or less. So it's kind of old, but it works, and I get everywhere where I want to get with it, and that's, I guess, the tech part of my presentation. Another very important thing of Supernatural and UEBERNATURAL is the soundtrack. Those guys, like these are the main characters. They are driving around in an old car, listening to classic rock and hunting monsters. So this is the core, basically. And classic rock, I don't know how they got all the licenses for these songs, because for example, I got sued once. I just wanted to use one song, I wanted to buy it, and I got sued, which is crazy, because I was a student back then, and yeah. So these guys, or the makers of the show, can use pretty much every song, especially classic rock songs. So what I did was, since I'm a musician, I created my own soundtrack for the game, inspired or highly inspired by typical songs. One song is called Jack Sabbath. You can imagine what the base of this song is. It's like a Paranoid clone, more or less. And it works very well. So the soundtrack is super important for me and for the fans as well. One topic that I'm really not good in, but that worked kind of fine because it just worked because of the Supernatural family, is marketing. And one point that I guess you guys also know is Austria and games. And I'm not talking about the game scene. I love the indie games scene in Austria. I'm really talking about the state and the country of Austria. And I still have the feeling that Austria as a state is saying that games are nice. And that's it. And so there's not enough money for so many good games, because there are so many good games out there. And I don't want to tell any story in particular, but I had some very strange moments because I kind of felt that I made a cool game, and I had some news articles and so on, and Austria was acting weird. So this is all I'm gonna say. But the Austrian indie game scene and the Austrian game scene in general is fantastic. I also, about we talked about that. I love that Austria is so small and that everybody knows each other more or less of the indie game scene. I love the FM4 Spielekammer. This is a very cool, cozy place. I love all the level up festivals, Game Dev Graz, Supertron, and so on. And streamers helped me out a lot. So streamers, this is all things that you guys know as well. Streamers are super important, and they are happy when they can stream your game, and opposite. So this is very, very important. Yeah, Supernatural Family I told about. Yeah, some other game companies helped me out a lot. And one thing I call couple gaming. This is very strange because whenever I was talking about UEBERNATURAL, I met a lot of couples, and either one of them was a Supernatural fan, and so they kind of forced the partner to watch Supernatural and play my game. So whenever I was talking to couples, I got 2 new fans, which is great. So couple gaming is also something that I want to focus on because it worked so fine. Something that really hurt me, it hurt me, was that I got no actor response whatsoever. No authors, none of the writers, nobody ever reacted to my game, which is kind of crazy because it was out there for 7 years more or less. Because I was very open with everything, and I know I kind of stole the idea, but I thought that at least once one of the actors, one of the writers would say, that's cool. At least it's not about money, it's not about anything, it's about respect, more or less. And it never happened until, and this is kind of crazy, and I kind of connected with this talk today, until yesterday. And yesterday was my birthday, and yesterday, the first time in 7 fucking years, an actor reacted with a heart, with a like. I don't care, but it's one of my favorite actors of the show, Felicia Day. She plays Charlie. She's like she's the nerd in the series, which is, yeah, but that's cool. And she liked it. She liked my post. So I'm over this, I guess. Not in my dreams, but here. The legal part is tricky, but I got help by a lawyer, and he said you are in a safe spot, in a safe place when you change all the names, like everything, and you change everything just a little bit. Then everything they could do is take down your game. They will not sue you or and so on. So the legal thing is, I always say it's a mix of being brave, being stupid, using some tricks, and of course the help of friends. A friend of mine, he works for Future Friends in London, I think, and he gave me, for example, the name of UEBERNATURAL. He said, just call it UEBERNATURAL, and that's it. And the funny thing, I come to one part, I will explain it later, is that Warner Brothers, the original founders more or less of Supernatural, they know about the game and they said that's okay. I forgot my own title of today, but I think it's like making a Supernatural game and don't earn money. Is a bit übertrieben, haha, the joke. I made $60 with it, but with the soundtrack. So I never sold the game, but I sold my soundtrack because it's my original songs. So that works great. And the other thing that works and that I can totally recommend is Patreon or Patreon. I don't know how to pronounce it. Not only because of the money, because I get like $60 a month, so it's not much, but it's a little bit, and it keeps me motivated. But especially because all those kind of Kickstarter, Patreon things are a lot of work, and I totally use it as a devlog. And if you want to keep track of your games and if you want to make a devlog, why not make this whole thing over Patreon? It works perfectly, and it keeps me at least very motivated. The numbers super short. In the beginning there was like a really cool boom. I got like 100 downloads for weeks every day, which is cool. and now it's up to like 5 to 10 downloads each day. It's a free game, so people, yeah, don't think about it. And yeah, some, I think 4K at the wish list. I think a lot of people put the game on the wish list because they wanna keep their pile of shame a little smaller, I guess. If you're interested in numbers, I got 2 Medium articles out there with all the numbers. I never made any secret of anything. Of like all the numbers are free, and you can read it if you're interested. You'll find, you'll find UEBERNATURAL there. So to sum it up, these are the 2 points that are important for UEBERNATURAL: ideology versus income. Income is 0, so it's more or less like this. I'm really a fan of the show. The show helped me out a lot of times when my time was not so well. So ideology is very important. Income is not so important for this project. So the whole not earning anything with the game, who cares? I don't really care. It's a lot of work. And the slogan of the show is always keep fighting. So this is like their family business slogan, and that's my slogan as well for the game. Now, as a little side note, you might think, okay, didn't you ever reach out to the companies? And I reached out to everybody. I tried everything, really. The big companies don't give a fuck about anything if you are like a small indie dev. I never got an answer, but I have friends at Redox. It's a small company in Salzburg, a gaming company. I work for them. And one of the friends there said, hey, we have contacts, come on, let's make a pitch. And that's what we did. And this is like the sort of mini summary of 1.5 year of really a lot of pitching work. We made like a first small pitch and pitched it to somebody who was like below Warner Brothers, and he said, yeah, okay. I showed it to my boss, and Warner Brothers liked the idea, so they said, yeah, make a better pitch. Then we made a better pitch. It took me like thousands of hours. We made new pixel art, new game ideas, really a lot of stuff. They liked it again, and they said, okay, let's meet at Gamescom, and that's what we did. And this is all not a secret. So this is, yeah, because it didn't happen, so it's not a secret. So we met at Gamescom, and they said, yeah, that's cool, make a game. We do nothing, you can do anything. With the brand, of course, when you get the money from a publisher, then we get a share. So this is the deal we are in right now, which is cool because, I mean, talking with Warner was really cool, because again, when you are a single person, nobody cares about you. But now we are like a company behind it, which is cool, and then you finally reach out to someone. But this year was, as you know, not so good for finding a publisher. I mean, some of you found a publisher, I think, but we didn't, and we got very cool letters, and everybody liked the game, but nobody has money. So this is where we are right now. So we are looking, or I'm looking for a publisher. On the same side, I'm trying to finish the project. So if a publisher comes up, I'm all in, 110%. But for UEBERNATURAL, I think I'm kind of done because there's the 20-year anniversary last Saturday. I created a new DLC that will be released in November, I think, on Steam. A new case for UEBERNATURAL. And I really have the feeling that I have to stop UEBERNATURAL because I put in so much time, and it feels cool, it feels right currently. And if Supernatural the game ever happens, yeah, that's cool, and UEBERNATURAL is finished. So that was UEBERNATURAL, and just like a little peek, okay, I'm talking too much, I already know, to Space Cowboy. Just one thing, this will be the game I will working on even when I'm 70, 80 years, because this is something I see as my hobby, just like playing guitar. I will release it maybe one day, but I wanna work on it as a hobby, as a motivation, as my thing, because this idea I really had with 12 years. I heard the song The Joker from Steve Miller Band for the first time, and I didn't hear what he's really singing about. He's like a bad guy, but he sings, some people call me the Space Cowboy, and I heard Space Cowboy, and I instantly knew, okay, what is a Space Cowboy? What is he doing? What does his ship look like? So I wanted to create a game called the Space Cowboy, in which you live in your game, in your ship, in which you don't necessarily fight or survive or anything, but you just live in your cool, don't know, caravan spaceship, and yeah, and just live there and just be in space and be cool. And because there are so many space cowboys out there, I did the classic I like sci-fi space cowboy trick. It's just a working title currently. And again, I just want to show you how it looks, or how it looked like last year. This was
The turning corners come, you are the tempest. No rest before you break out and unleash your phantom pressure, cook nature. Future, what is left beyond the point of no return?
So you saw a lot of dummy art. I collect. I feel like in Waterworld sometimes I collect here and collect there and stick it all together. And yeah, this is the main point. I don't like the hashtag van life, but it fits to Space Cowboy because living inside your spaceship is a big part of the game. And okay, yeah, and this is what it looks like currently. The clue more or less is that the space parts are top down and the exploring parts are platformer, because I just love platforming games. You live in your spaceship. You saw the already infamous space shower, because people always say, why do you need a shower in space? And I can tell you a million reasons why you need a shower in space. So it's very for me a complex game with a lot of dummy art, as mentioned before, and it's always growing. I started just with a space exploration game and a platformer, and now I added, like, you can, for example, you can in one ship you find an old arcade thing, an old arcade automat, and you can put it into your spaceship, and then you can play arcade games in your spaceship. I added a space casino because it's called Space Cowboy, and there must be a saloon or something where you can play Holotron, no, like you play card games, and you can play dice games and so on. This is like a racing simulation, so I put everything into the game, and this is another reason why it's never gonna be finished, but I don't care, because it makes, for me, it makes so much fun to work on this game. And one, or maybe the biggest thing, or the biggest, coolest thing for me in Space Cowboy is the soundtrack. In your ship there is a car radio, just like in GTA, and you can turn on the radio stations, and you'll get to hear, first of all, fake history news, like really the world has been destroyed and history has been rewritten, something that is happening currently too. And beside the fake history news, you also get to hear a ton of different songs, and all those bands you see are Austrian stoner rock bands, and so on. And this was my idea from the beginning on. I'm also a musician. I played many concerts and know a lot of bands, and I asked them if they want to be with one or two songs in my game, and it's always like a win-win situation. I get one or two songs from the bands, and I make a trailer and like make ads for them and commercials and so on, so we both win, and they are in the game after all. So this is something very important. Timeline is wasted. I had the plan to release Steam Early Access in 2020, then things happened, maybe you remember. So all I can say is it will be released in the future, and thank you. So if you want to follow me everywhere. It's always / or at I like sci-fi. That's it. And of course, if there are questions, let me know.
Is Space Cowboy also has a Steam page or something?
I'm working on the Steam page,
Okay.
but the thing is, somebody told me that I shouldn't release the Steam page too early before I release it. But since I don't know when I will release it. I don't care. So I will maybe by the end of the year, maybe I will release it.
Nice, awesome.
Sure.
You said that your devlogs are on Patreon, right? And they work out for you really well.
Mhm.
Do you think this is because of the fan base of UEBERNATURAL or
No,
Supernatural
the
or-
funny thing is that Patreon is half of the people on Patreon are friends, friends and family.
Okay.
So this is one thing, and the others are really fans, which is cool. But the devlog is egoistically spoken is really more for me. It's less for the people out there. But of course, if they're interested, cool. But the comments are rare, so it's really more for me, and that's why it works cool. Sure.
You mostly then earn with like making music for games or
No, I earn with different other jobs. So I'm. This is the UEBERNATURAL and Space Cowboy thing is really my hobby and my where I put everything in where of my free time, and I'm a game designer for Redox, for example. This is one job I have, but I also cut videos for Red Bull. This is another job, and I also do other jobs that are not so cool. But I try to stay over water. But I would not say this is my job. So jobs are very different. I think you had a question.
So you're using an old game engine.
Yes.
Do you have any problems
Yes.
keeping up to date with Windows 10 or 11 something?
Yeah, totally. It's the problem of my developing process is that for Space Cowboy I'm way too deep in to move to another platform, which is sad, but also that's how it is. But the good thing is the community of Fusion of Click Fusion is talking about Fusion 3, which will be a new version of it, and I just told another colleague of yours. Fusion is making a lot of money because they are the creators, or the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's works with Fusion, and they are kind of glued together. So whenever there's a new FNAF game, the community is happy, and they are working on the third part of their tool, and we are all hoping this will come out in the next 2-3 years. But again, since I will work on this game, until the world ends, well, something like this. Sorry. Okay.
You said you could list 100 reasons why you need a shower in space.
Yeah.
Could you at least list a few of those or your favorites?
Sure. The funny thing is that when anyways, I made. I'm one of the musicians of Festival Tycoon, the game that was been released some years ago, and I met Johannes, who is the creator of Festival Tycoon, at the Supertron pitch Wettbewerb, and I was second place, he was first place, but we became friends there. And at this presentation, people in the audience asked me this question: why is there a shower? And the funny thing is that I never had a game design idea for the shower in space. I just wanted to have a shower in space. But while I was working on this project, many ideas came up. For example, you are always on the planet, and the planets are of course infected with all kinds of diseases. So you have to go back to your spaceship, and when you don't take a shower, one reason can happen that you are dying because you are sick. The other thing that I probably will build in the game is that there are planets where something sticks onto your body. This is already implemented, so you have pixel dots on your body, and you go into your spaceship, you go back into your spaceship, and when you don't take a shower, there's like a little meter of your dirtiness, more or less, and when you don't take a shower, a little gremlin grows that will destroy your ship from internal, which is already implemented, and so on. So there are so many reasons that came after I implemented it. In the beginning, I really wanted, maybe I wanted to show the character nude, I don't know, but I just wanted to have a shower in my spaceship for no game design reason whatsoever. But now, yeah, there are many ideas.
Is there a logical explanation of how it actually works in space? Like
With the
this-
water,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, you find, yeah, of course. I mean, this is something that I will not implement a lot of text or voiceovers in the game, but there are ice asteroids, like ice things in space. And in the beginning, you shoot pretty much everything because you're just fond of shooting, more or less. And you pretty soon realize this is also something that people experienced with early gameplay demo, that when you shoot the ice asteroid, little particles fall off. This is more or less a mistake of the tool, but the character collected instantly those, or in other words, the particles were destroyed when you moved over it. And then I realized, okay, this could be a way how you can collect ice and create water and so on. So it's, but this is also something why I love working on this project, because I'm a flow person, I would say. Also in music, I like when things are just happening. I'm not a good planning person. That's why I also not good at marketing. But this is something that I always enjoyed when something like this happens.
Sounds great.
Cool. Then thanks for listening.